my goal when they're placed on probation is to help them with that and help them stay on track. Of course, if they're not doing their part, then sometimes there's nothing I can do for them but send them to prison. So I will want to alleviate any fear. All right, and this is for sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court is calling 2024 CR 1309, State of Texas versus Megan Kathleen Conacher. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Lorraine Ephraim for Megan.
And are you Miss Conacher?
Kanneker.
I know I keep mispronouncing your name. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Just give me one moment. All right. We're here for sentencing in this matter. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 8 years in the prison, and the state is silent on your application.
Well, I think what it is, they're recommending probation, but silent on deferred.
Ah, that is correct. Thank
Okay,
you.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
All
And I
right.
think it's kind of an unusual, I think it's a 7-year, an 8-year underlying with a 7-year rec.
All right. So have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state? Defense, any objection to the PSI report?
No, Your Honor.
Have both parties had a chance to review the TAP evaluation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the TAP evaluation?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then the state is silent on the application for a deferred adjudication. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor. I guess I would like the court to note that her mom is here in support. And I have some things I'd like to urge on her behalf. She may want to say a few words.
All right, so I'm looking at her criminal history. She's been on deferred adjudication before. And that deferred adjudication was revoked. And she was given 44 days in the Bexar County Jail with the judgment satisfied. And so why should I grant her deferred adjudication? She's been given deferred before.
I understand, Judge. Megan's come a long way and she's still in process. She's suffered a lot of trauma over her life and her childhood. And then was kind of deep in her addiction, which led to this offense. Since then, she has begun counseling and is sober.
Yes.
And she feels like the counseling that she's engaging in right now is very helpful to her.
I'm also on medication now.
And she would greatly value the opportunity to avoid a felony conviction if possible. Due to her age and circumstances in life, it could be really important for her not to have that felony conviction. Although we did talk at length about it, and you can see it's kind of an unusual deal for us to come like this, but and we're appreciative of the probation. She just would like an opportunity, if she could, to prove herself and to avoid the conviction. And she has an appointment with her counselor this Wednesday, in fact.
Just one moment. Excuse me, no talking behind the court reporter. All right, you may continue.
Okay. And did you want to say?
Just that when I was offered deferred the first
You want to
time.
raise your right hand?
Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Megan Kanneker.
All right, you may proceed.
When I got put on deferred adjudication the last time, I was very young and I was freshly new into my addiction and didn't know as much as I know about myself now. And I wasn't willing to do the work that I am willing to do now.
All right, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Who is Tyree Ranford?
He's the guy that I'd met at the bus stop who had the drugs.
So are you employed?
I work for an app called ShiftSmart.
And what do you do?
I go to different Circle Ks and I either clean the store or stock their walk-in taser.
All right. Any other witnesses you want to call, Mom?
No.
So that I can have,
I didn't talk to the mom about testifying, but if she's here, I think she'd be willing to see if the court had any questions for her.
I do.
Okay. What's her name? Maureen Kanneker.
All right, the deputy is going to have you stand over there. All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Maureen Kanneker.
All right, so I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
All right, I'm trying to make a decision on whether or not to give her a felony conviction or whether or not to give her deferred adjudication. So just before we start with my questions, I want you to know that your testimony, if I don't give her deferred, it's not your fault. If I
Okay.
do give her your deferred, so there is no need for you, every
Right,
answer that you give
right.
me is the correct answer. So is she currently living with you?
Yes,
All right. And when she was placed on deferred adjudication back in 2015, was she living with you or no?
oh, yeah, no,
All right.
no.
So what is her daily routine like with you?
It varies. It depends on if she has a shift.
Mhm.
If she has a shift, she's up and gone before I'm up because she has to take the bus.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they're home. I mean, her daughter's at the house too. She's 14 and we're homeschooling. There's other issues with her daughter. It's just if either she goes to work or she's at the house, honestly.
You wake up, you make breakfast.
No,
What
I
ti-
wake up and run out the door to work.
Okay, what time do you normally wake up?
I'm up by like 5:30, 6
And
on a
what-
workday.
And what time are you out of the house?
I gotta be by 7 or I'm late for work.
Okay. And then Megan and her daughter, are they
home,
they're
yeah.
usually up or getting up?
Bella, not so much, but Megan, yeah, yeah.
All right. So when she was in her addiction in the past,
Mhm.
were you able to notice changes and could you tell that there were issues?
She wasn't at my house when she started that.
Okay.
I am a registered nurse and I have seen it. There are times when I've seen it, yes.
All right. So you
In
would
the
be able to
past.
know if there are some issues if she were falling off her schedule.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right. And if she were to fall off her schedules,
And she's
Would-
out of my house.
all right. Well, before she's out of your house, would you be willing to contact probation?
Oh, yeah, if
All right.
that's what you want me to do, absolutely.
And what I can tell you, this defense counsel will tell you that if someone has a mental health issue, if they
Mhm.
have a drug issue, my goal when they're placed on probation is to help them with that and help them stay on track. Of
Mhm.
course, if they're not doing their part, then sometimes there's nothing I can do for them but send them to prison. So I will want to alleviate any fears that you have that sometimes parents may have. Oh, I can't tell probation because my child will go to prison.
Ma'am, I'm a
Yeah.
registered nurse. I can't have it in my house.
Okay.
I can't.
So you'll let us know?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, I guess it would, if I, does it appear to you she's doing better now?
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, she had lived with, so she was very good right before COVID, right? And we actually went through getting her daughter away from her dad
Mhm.
because that was a big thing.
Mhm.
And she did great. She actually homeschooled her daughter and my other granddaughter because she was the only one that got furloughed.
Mhm.
She did wonderfully all through that. Then she kind of slid a little bit after that. And then she left. And so, yeah,
So she had a pretty bad relapse. She was out there,
right.
but now she's doing better.
Yes.
Does she appear clearer to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I can tell. I can tell. When she's eating me out of house and home, I know she's good.
Is she eating you out?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, I love that. Thank you.
The
All right,
truth.
so I
Thank you
love
so
it.
much.
I think we all know that's a good
Any
sign.
questions, State?
No, you're on.
All right. Thank you.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. If you'll come forward. So according to the TAP evaluation, I think they're recommending DDRF. Is that correct?
I did see that rec for the DDRF and Mick.
I'm sorry?
monthly urinalysis and silver support.
And
All right. Are you currently receiving mental health treatment?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is that with?
Right side?
do you have your phone with you?
Yeah.
Would you mind if we showed the appointment on her phone?
Oh, no, she just will need to give it to
Okay.
probation.
She has some information on her phone if the court would care to see it.
No. She'll need to show it to probation.
Okay.
So probation, I'm thinking we'll start with, since she's already receiving treatment through Brightside, You're gonna have to sign a release so that probation can have that and they'll know when your appointments are. DDRF, that's in custody. So you need to make sure that you stay on track with everything.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to 6 years deferred adjudication. There's to be no contact with Tyree, Tyree, Ranford, Ranford. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, mixed caseload, continued treatment with right side, field visits 1 time per month for 6 months, 120 sober meetings in 120 days, $1,500 fine, that will be probated, 200 hours of community service restitution. What is your dream job?
Dual diagnosis substance abuse counselor.
Okay. If you are able to do that and complete it and obtain your certification, the court will deem the community service hours satisfied.
Okay.
Probation, is there anything else? I'm sorry, proof of employment within 30 days, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Anything else, probation? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we can go off the record in this courtroom and state your excuse. In this courtroom, to be successful on probation, communication is key. If you have an issue, you need to let probation know. If you feel as though they're not addressing it, you can always come back to court. You're going to need to sign those releases so probation can make sure that you're keeping up with your appointments at Brightside. Do you understand? Do you have any questions about anything? All right, just wait in the courtroom and probation will go over conditions for you.
Your Honor, I thought the misdemeanor was being TIC'd on this.
Let me check and see. Yes. And taking consideration, 707107.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right.
He's present, Judge, and in reference to his matter, the probation did inform us that he is scheduled for a intake appointment for outpatient services, 8 o'clock a.m. for tomorrow.
All right, so if you do not make probation on John Ramirez, if he doesn't make that appointment for tomorrow, file a motion to revoke. All right. Do you have any questions?
Duly noted, we've discussed the importance of that meeting, and he's definitely going to be there, Judge, and follow all the instructions of the court.
Is there anything else?
Nothing further, Judge, may be excused.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome. All right, hi.
Hi.
All right, so are you all ready to proceed?
Ready, Ron.
Could I have a file stamp for a motion to revoke? And could I have another sheet because there's no room left on this sheet? All right, thank you. All right. Did you do a trial court certification?
Well, she's not taking a plea today or anything. She's, she already was continued, but there was an issue about her signing up for Esperanza Court. So you
Oh.
wanted to see.
Ah, okay. Did she sign up?
No, Your Honor, she hasn't. She says that she hasn't been a prostitute of any kind for over 7 to 8 years. She didn't feel that it was something that was really appropriate for her. She didn't sign.
All right. Ms. Abrams? So where are we sending her?
There wasn't,
Even when she was accepted into Esperanza Court, she said she just wanted to go back to her and the judge and possibly take her time.
All right. So you just want to take your time? Because let me just tell you, either you're going to Esperanza Court or you're going into somebody's inpatient treatment at the jail.
I did want to point this out to the judge. Looks like there was a TAP evaluation done. I think that's recently, I'm sure the date, but since TR.
All right.
And I don't know, there's a recommendation in there.
Yeah, it's a state ISF inpatient treatment. So do you want to talk to her because she's saying that she just wants to do her time?
Well, I don't know. I talked to her and she didn't tell me that. She sounded like she wasn't sure.
All right, so here's the thing. You're either going to ISF, and if you don't sign for it, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. You want to speak to her about that?
I
This is-
could, but I was wondering if I could recall it for tomorrow to do
No,
that.
this is getting completed today.
Well, yeah, I've got to go to another court.
All right,
before
this is
close.
being completed today.
What do you want to do?
I was just confused that you say that, communication is a key. It's too hard to communicate when
All
you're in
right, let me
jail.
just tell you, here's the communication. You were scheduled to go to Esperanza Court.
Okay,
You have said, oh, I don't qualify for Esperanza Court. So Esperanza Court is off the table. You're going to go to ISF. It's an inpatient treatment facility.
mhm.
Now, probation has informed me that you no longer want to be on probation. That's fine. If you want to just go do some time and be done, you
I
can.
do want to be on probation.
So I'm hoping that there's no issue with communication. So here are your two choices. You can sign for ISF today. If you don't want to sign for it, that's fine. A motion to revoke is going to be filed. We will hear that motion today. Those are your two choices. So discuss that with your attorney. Thank you. Eduardo Reyes.
You were taken into the back.
Yes, he's supposed to be dressed for trial.
Oh, okay. He is saying that I'm not his lawyer, that he doesn't want me to be his attorney. I don't know if we need another competency hearing or not, but this is where we are at.
All right, we'll be back at trial at 1:30.
1:30.
Yes.
Okay.
All righty, he's scheduled for jury trial.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
I spoke to the state and I e-filed a verified motion for continuance.
Mhm.
I'm starting a trial on 2/26 with Andrew Levin, Your Honor. Yeah,
Okay. And when is that starting?
we're starting on Wednesday, Judge.
And what charge is that?
It's aggravated sexual assault of an elderly.
Oh, okay. All right, are you gonna have any objections to this motion for continuance?
No.
All right, I'll grant your motion for continuance. All right, Norma, I need a jury trial date, criminal trial division. It should be relatively short. It's in, all right, January 21st.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you are excused. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Court is calling 2024 CR 009532, State of Texas versus Mario Inosa. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Joseph Acevedo for the defense.
And are you Mr. Inosa?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Inosa, did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the court admonishments and defendant's waivers with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with evading arrest, detention, and vehicle? That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Do you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into this plea bargaining agreement? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Believe he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Believe he does.
Mr. Inosa, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Anyone promise you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at a $2,000 fine, and the state is recommending deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Then to the offense, I'm sorry, outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 3 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 120 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? All right, then now to the offenses charge. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
State offers states exhibit number 1 and attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, state, you may be excused. Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state would be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
If the court will permit, if the TAP evaluation were to recommend inpatient, that we be able to approach the court on that.
Yes.
Thank you. Then yes.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor, other than recognizes his failure to, or that he had a lapse in judgment and understands it. And he's asking the court to follow the plea agreement and believes he can comply with all the terms and conditions and be compliant with the court.
All right, are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
I work for a Bear Oil company. That's the name, Bear Oil.
Okay.
I'm a driver.
All right. So Purgatory Bar, how often have you been there?
I've been there a couple of times.
All right, so you're not going to be allowed to go there anymore.
Okay.
And I guess there was a altercation or discussion,
Yeah,
maybe an intoxicated discussion between you and someone else.
they accused me of taking their keys, and their keys were in their car at the time, the whole time. So that's how everything escalated from that point.
Do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to a $2,000 fine. That will be probated, 3 years deferred adjudication, proof of employment within 30 days, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors, regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular UAs, out of custody, there's to be a TAP evaluation. There's to be no contact with Purgatory Bar at 1010 North Main Avenue. There's going to be 120 sober meetings in 120 days. Field visits 1 time per month for 6 months. And there's to be 200 hours of community service restitution. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it? All right. Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because I waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record in this court. To be successful, communication is key. If there's an issue, let your probation officer know about it. If you feel as though they're not addressing it, you can always come back to court. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yes. Court is calling 2024 CR 4332, State of Texas versus Jesse Vega Jr. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state defense?
Michael J. Sawyer.
And are you Mr. Vega?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just see where you're on the docket. There we are. Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Vega, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, I'm sorry, just one moment. I do not have there it is. Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yeah.
Any objection?
None, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the court admonishments and defendant's waivers with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with evading arrest detention with a vehicle? That's a 3rd-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vega, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 8 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine and no applications. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled, the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal? Paragraph with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
Done, Your Honor.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest, ma'am.
State any evidence.
State offers states exhibit number 1 attachments.
Defense has no objection.
All right, state, you may be excused. Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and considered to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments. The court has reviewed the same. The court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court will follow your agreement, sentence you to 8 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $2,000 fine, time and money to run concurrent. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because
ma'am.
this is a felony conviction. You're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. How old are you?
38.
All right, at some point, you're gonna find that you spent a majority of your life in prison. You're gonna have to make a decision. You understand? All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, so I'll have my excuse.
Yes, thank you. Good
Have a
seeing you.
day.
Israel Cortez. Yes.
Good morning, Judge. Also a verified motion for continuance on Mr. Cortez. I spoke to Mr. Garahan last week.
Mhm.
For some reason, Judge, even though I was appointed on November 13th, 2024, Mr. Garahan still showed another attorney as the attorney of record. So I think that may have prevented me from getting all the discovery. I'm gonna check the index though and make sure I have everything, but I believe it's been corrected now. And I'm reflected as the attorney of record on Mr. Cortez's case.
Okay, and that's for the murder case, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so I know that he is starting trial in the 226, but I am not going to sign his motion for continuance because it's not really his fault that he hasn't received all of the discovery, and it's not the state's fault.
Yes.
So I'm not going to charge either of you with a motion for continuance for this.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I know we were scheduled for a jury trial today, with selection being on the 10th. But that being said, have you all discussed when this should be going to trial, as far as when everybody would be ready? I know we have murder cases coming up.
I mean, I haven't discussed it with Mr. believe it probably, it's gonna obviously be after the first of the year, if not, probably. I know we have a capital in February, so I think this might be pushed sometime in March.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring this back on December 19th. And that's to make sure you have all of your discovery and there are no more issues with it being uploaded to Odyssey. And then on that day, we'll pick a jury trial date.
Thank you, Judge.
And do you keep coming back with new tattoos? All right, so no, your attorney will probably tell you, probably no more facial tattoos before trial. Okay.
They're all the same one from like 5 years ago.
Okay. All right. I have no problem with tattoos, but yeah, he knows what I'm speaking about. All right, so we'll come back on December 19th.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
All right, we're here for discovery and any immigration issues. Are there immigration issues?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
We do have some outstanding discovery issues, Judge.
All right, so the immigration issues have been addressed.
Yes, I believe so. We're still, I have just gotten NCIC, TCIC for the complaining witnesses, Your Honor. Based on the names and dates of birth given, there might be issues with that, but neither the state nor the defense knows.
So
for
you're a
sure.
citizen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
All right, so what are their discovery?
Table of contents generated by the investigator assigned to this case makes reference to text messages that do not seem to have been produced to the state and then disclosed to the defense. So I need to get with that investigator and make sure that if he does in fact have.
Yes, Your Honor. There might also be voice recordings from the detective to the complaining witnesses. This was done over phone call. There might be videos because the complaining witnesses came in. And there might be possible copies of any checks, given this is a theft case.
All right, Norman, recall this for January 27th for discovery.
Thank you so much, Judge. I really appreciate you.
All right, thank you. You guys have a great one.
Thank
And thank you for dressing appropriately for court. Once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you. All right, if I got to have parties announced for the record for the state
Jason, your hand, Your Honor.
defense.
Jose Rocha for Patrick Nyong'ere, Your Honor, with the interpreter that's here.
All right, and are you Mr. Nyangari?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so I don't think you say is the language he speaks is the answer yes? Is that that in that language?
Yes.
All right, so here's the thing. Either we're going to use the interpreter or we're not going to use the interpreter, but you are not allowed to speak to me in English if we're using an interpreter.
Yes.
All right, and to the interpreter, if you could raise your right hand. And I'm sorry, what language are we speaking?
Swahili?
Swahili. Do you affirm that you will faithfully translate from English to Swahili and Swahili to English, so help you God? All right, can you lower your hand, state your name for the record?
My name is Shema Rubeduka.
All right, if you could spell that for the,
SHEMA Shema.
all right. Mr. Nyangari, all of the documents I'm going to review with you are in English. Were those documents explained to you in Swahili?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
All right, so
Oh, I have to say, okay,
you have everything that I say,
okay,
you have to translate it.
okay. Anauliza kama counsel alipata
All right, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
ulifasiriwa na nini hapo na kipimo chetu tulisema majaribu ya Kiswahili uliolewa ulisikia? Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Na mbele ulewa ile ingine alikueleza kama itafungiwa kama unasikia? Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Your Honor.
Sasa namuza kama alisoma vile. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so before anybody answer my questions, give the interpreter a chance to interpret, then answer.
Okay. Kisha mbele ya kusema kila kitu chochote nitatafsiri Kiswahili kisha utaleta nitamfasiria.
Did you review the court admonishments and defendants waivers with your attorney?
Ulielewa ile kuonyesha ya jana kama palikueleza mwenyewe kusikia leo. Yes.
Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Ulielewa na ukasign kwa kila kitu. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with robbery?
Ulielewa
That's a
ile-
second degree felony.
ulielewa kama funga uliiba ipo kuolewa ya pili. Yes, ma'am.
Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
Kwa kama miaka mbili na miaka 12 na 1,000 ya kulipa. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea.
Akasema kama ile mpango uliingia na state itasema kama hawezi kuitikia au kama anatafuta kubadilisha au atafuta kubadilisha yao au kutafuta kitu kingine. Ndio. Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Ewa kama unaitikia hii mpango hii unaacha kila sheria yote unayo. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm so sorry, the rights that you're giving up are the rights to a jury trial, the right to cross-examine any witnesses against you, and the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Sheria yote unaletwa unaitikia iko na kuota urudia na nyuma na kuacha mpango bado. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison? Did you understand?
Unaelewa kama ile ulitikia mpango ulitikia kama wanaona kama unaingia kati ya wafunga na kifungo watakuwa kurudisha na kutabi jail miaka 12. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Kuonyesha kama kansa kama alipitia elewa. Ndio. Yes.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Anauliza kama yeye anaona kama ulielewa kila kitu alifasiria.
Yes.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Anamuuliza kama anaweza kama huko na matatizo yote kuelewa na kila kitu nyita kupatia usiweze kufasiriwa kile alikuwa.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ndio.
All right. Sir, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
Mtu mmoja alikuona bila kutika hiyo kitu chochote. No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
Na mtu alikuuliza kama ataposhipata kitu kingine au mpango? No, ma'am.
Has anyone, I'm sorry, are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Naona unaona kama huyo mtu kufuatilia kitu chochote mzuri na unafurahi nayo. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Are you a US citizen?
Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial.
Na kama wanaona kama wewe peko na itoa roho yako kusikia mpango hii. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney?
Na uona mfasiria na ndio na kwa kama mfasiria mzuri. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, there's a $1,000 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication.
Na anakueleza kama mpango ile
They're taking a case into consideration and there's to be restitution to James Cardenas. Did you understand that to be the plea?
na kuonyesha kama ule mtu niliiba atatafuta kuweza kuangalia mzuri mimi nilifanya au kumrudishia mtu nilimwambia. Unaelewa? Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I didn't hear the words James Cardenas.
Well, sorry, explain it differently. Ule mtu James Cardenas nilimwiba atamrudishia vitu nilimwambia. Unaelewa? Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so with regards to interpreting, exactly what I'm saying is supposed to be interpreted. There's not supposed to be a synopsis or you saying something different or putting your own spin on it. So if I say there's a $1,000 fine, the only thing you have to say to him is a $1,000 fine. All right. So the plea bargain agreement is a $1,000 fine.
mapango yamefika iko 1,000.
Deferred adjudication.
Na pango la chakula mambo ya kupatia
There's a case being taken in consideration,
hii kesi iko na wazi
and there's to be restitution to James Cardenas.
kumrudisha James Cardenas kila kitu. Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be the plea?
Unaelewa kama yao ndio mpango? Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Na anauliza kama anaelewa ndio mpango? Anasema yes.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Anauliza kama sikielewa. Anaelewa.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Na ulioelewa na mtu kama kuja kutu sign kitu ulielewa ile kufuatilia? Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
All right, by signing that, you're waiving your right to appeal. The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Kama unaichekea mpango basi kupatia kila kitu hivi watafanya iko kuangalia yenyewe basi. Kuelezea au itikia. Ndio. Yes.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
Anauliza kama alikuwa na kila kitu.
No, Your Honor.
Asema pa.
Outside the agreement, state is recommending that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 7 years.
Na anaweza kama mpango hii itikia kati ya miaka 7.
A TAP evaluation, a TAIP evaluation,
Na yeye wanasema uangalia kama namna gani kati ya miaka 7 ile utakuwa namna gani utakuwa.
120 hours of community service restitution,
Portion mbili ya kazi. Kazi hizo ni mambo ya sisi. Yes, ma'am.
and no contact with James Cardenas.
Na waweze kukutana ule mtu anaitwa James Cardenas. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I do not have to follow those recommendations. Do you understand?
Na anasema kama hayako kushiria yake kufuata na kuambia atapisha kubadilisha. Unaelewa? Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense as charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Ile wanasema pale chagula kani namna gani ya kusema. Unatikia guilty, guilty. No contest.
State any evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. State exhibit number 1 with all its attachments.
Anaweza kama waliona ile.
No objection, sir.
Malia.
All right, state, you may be excused. Oh, do you have the? Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. Did you understand?
Unaelewa kama uko na sheria kukala kimya si kitu au kuna baraza allows lakini kukala kimya. Yes, ma'am.
All right. The state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements, but there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
So, lakini itakuwa mbele ya watu.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication.
Kama kisha kuona ripoti bana kama ulikuwa na makosa lakini utakupatia mpango ile sasa. Ndio. Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
At this time, Your Honor, thank you very much for taking into consideration the other case and placing my client on deferred adjudication. I'm sure he's not going, he's gonna be very successful in not going to have this court see him again. Your Honor, I've spoken to my client through the interpreter, and I believe that this is something that he would like to move forward with.
Anampigia kisanti sasa kama anakamata wakati wa kusikia kocha wetu na alipoelewa kila kitu, unaelewa unafasiriwa kama itakuwa nzuri mambo yako. And he thanks you.
All right. Are you employed?
Kuna kazi unatumika ndono
How long have you been unemployed?
miaka wakati ngapi ulikuwa unatumika? About 12 years, 12, miezi. About 12 years.
How are you supporting yourself?
Namna gani unaweza kuishi? Through disability.
What do you receive disability for?
Unapata ile sikia ng'ombe. Ukishika. Okay. About mental health.
I'm sorry, what?
Mental health.
All right. Do you have any children?
Kwa watoto? No. Hapana.
Do you have any family here?
Kuna jamaa hapa? Okay. He's got a cousin.
All right. Where is the rest of your family?
Jamaa ingine iko wapi? He doesn't have one.
All right.
Sometimes.
Do you have any family outside of the United States?
Jamaa kuifika nchi ingine? Hapana. Hapana.
All right. As previously stated, the court is going to defer finding of guilt. The court will sentence you to $1,000 fine, probated, 7 years deferred adjudication.
Sasa wanasema kama watakupatia mpango utalipa 1,000 na atakupatia miaka 7.
Court will take in consideration 2024 CR 009072.
Inaangalia ile kesi ya kweli ndio analeta ile namba.
There's to be restitution and no contact with James Cardenas.
Hawezi kutafuta mtu anaitwa James Cardenas na kupatia mtu wake. Yes, ma'am.
120 hours of community service restitution.
Posho 2 ya kazi.
I'm going to order anger management. Once he completes anger management, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied.
Atafute maana shirika kutafuta kuna shirika mmoja linalopata makazi lazima utaweza kufanya zaidi. Yes, ma'am.
Regular and random UAs.
What is it?
Regular urinalysis.
Oh, okay. Atafuta kukuanta mpoi yako.
Regular reporting. A TAIP evaluation, and MIC evaluation in custody. Proof of employment or SSI benefits within 45 days of release from custody.
Ya kazi kisha kuacha siku 45 days.
Yes. Field visits, 1 time per month for 6 months.
Field visits.
Yes. Field visit, FIELD visits.
Okay.
Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court?
No.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes.
Because this
Ma'am.
is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal.
Mambo naitikia mpango hii, hauwezi tena kurudisha nyuma kusema kama natafuta Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you need anything, let the court know. Good luck to you.
Kama unatafuta kitu chochote, uelewe. Excellent.
Thank you. All right, if you remain, probation, go over conditions with him. Court is calling 2022 CR 3596, State of Texas versus Anthony Villarreal.
Can I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have parties approach and announce for the record for the state?